I'm so glad you chose to be here once again. Just like last time, I want you to find a comfortable spot. Maybe take a deep breath and just give yourself credit for showing up. This work isn't easy, but it is the most important thing we can do. Have you ever heard yourself agree to something while every fiber of your being was shouting a protest? Have you ever put on a smile just to keep things calm, even as you felt like you were breaking apart on the inside? Perhaps you feel a constant sense of being drained, a deep exhaustion that you can't explain, no matter how much rest you get. There is a kind of suffering that leaves no visible scars, a quiet, nagging pain that's difficult to describe. It begins to grow when you start betraying yourself, little by little, day after day. You do what people expect of you. You carefully adjust the tone of your voice. You pick the right words, and you bury what you truly feel. You do all of this to avoid being a bother, to prevent disappointing anyone, to make sure you are liked and accepted. You become a master of adaptation. For a while, this strategy seems to work perfectly. People appreciate you. You build a reputation for being dependable, pleasant, and easygoing. But beneath this carefully crafted social mask, a sense of emptiness starts to form. It's a quiet discomfort that grows over time, a feeling that a vital part of you is being ignored, left behind, and slowly suffocated. The famous psychologist Carl Jung gave this social mask a name, the persona. He explained that it is a necessary tool. We all need one to function in the world, to interact with others, and to be a part of society. The real trouble starts when we stop consciously putting on the mask and instead begin to believe that the mask is who we truly are. This is the point where we forget that behind the character we play, there is a real person. A person with desires that might not align with the group, with anger that isn't always polite, and with thoughts that aren't meant to please everyone. When this forgetting happens, something inside starts to fracture. You can feel the crack, but you can't explain it. It feels as if you're living someone else's life, like an actor stuck on a stage in a play that has no end. This isn't about becoming a person with no filter who says whatever they want, nor is it about abandoning all social graces. It's about something much more profound. It is about recognizing the moment when your deep-seated need to be accepted is pulling you away from the person you genuinely are. It's about having the courage to pause, look inward, and confront the truth that you have been living more to please others than to exist as your authentic self. And make no mistake, this kind of self-abandonment has a heavy price. It shows up as anxiety that seems to come from nowhere, as a crisis of identity where you no longer know who you are, as resentment that bubbles up without a clear source, and as a deep, silent sadness that colors everything. We are going to talk about this directly. We will look this destructive pattern of living for others straight in the eye. We will explore why this constant need to please isn't just a simple personality quirk, but a serious symptom that you have become disconnected from your own core being. Most importantly, we will talk about the possible path you can take to find your way back to yourself. Think of this as a mirror, and for some, it might feel like a punch to the gut. But if you are reading this, it's because a part of you already knows that you cannot go on like this. So, take a deep breath, because this journey might challenge everything you thought you knew about who you are. From a very young age, you were taught how to behave. You learned to hide your true feelings so you wouldn't upset others, to control your natural impulses so you wouldn't appear selfish, and to smile and be agreeable even when you just wanted to hide. You learned the fundamental rule: to be accepted, you had to be convenient for others. And so, without even noticing it, you began to build a version of yourself that was socially acceptable. This is the persona, the character we designed to face the outside world. It is not only important, but also essential for navigating life. It's because of this mask that we can hold down a job, be part of a team, and live within a community. The problem arises when we lose sight of the fact that the persona is just a functional tool. We start to believe that this constructed character is our entire identity. You act as if you are always calm and collected, even when you are burning with frustration on the inside. You become the person who is always there for everyone, always helpful, always balanced, because that is the role people have come to expect from you. But the reality is that every single time you say you're fine when you're not, every time you swallow your anger to prevent a disagreement, every time you say, "It's okay," when every part of you knows it isn't. A small piece of your true self is being silenced. This constant repetition of small internal betrayals creates tiny fractures inside you, and over time, these fractures accumulate. Slowly but surely, the person behind the mask starts to fade away. You no longer know what you genuinely want for your own life. You find it difficult to identify what you are truly feeling. Your own desires become a confusing mess, and your decisions become automatic, based on a script. You live your life according to what you think others expect, not according to what you believe or desire. This is the moment when the persona stops being a helpful tool and transforms into a mental and emotional prison. And the most cruel part of this entire situation is that, from the outside, everything probably looks great. You receive praise, people rely on you, and you may even appear successful and happy. But on the inside, something essential is dying. The mask has fused with your skin, and you no longer know how to remove it without risking the collapse of everything you've built. But is maintaining this image truly worth the price of giving up on yourself? How many times have you kept quiet just to avoid a difficult conversation? How many times have you instantly regretted saying yes to a request? How many times have you smiled for the world while screaming on the inside? The truth is that the persona should be your employee, not your boss. When you identify too closely with this role, you begin to live as a ghost of yourself. Over time, this disconnects you from your soul, the very living core of your being. It is at this exact point that something within you starts to fight back, and this rebellion has a name: internal conflict. There is a quiet war being fought inside you, and the battlefield is your own mind and body. On one side of this war is your conscious self, the part of you that actively seeks to fit in, to gain recognition, to maintain stability, and to belong. This is the part of you that desperately wants to keep your social image in one piece, that is terrified of rejection, and that tries to manage everything to ensure you continue to be accepted by others. On the other side is your deeper self, the unconscious part of you that is raw, symbolic, and wild. This part of you does not care about social rules. It only wants truth. While your conscious mind works overtime to keep the mask perfectly in place, your deeper self begins to push back. It doesn't communicate with clear words or logical arguments. Instead, it sends subtle signals. It creates a vague sense of unease, feelings of discomfort, emotional reactions that seem way out of proportion to the situation, and physical sensations that have no clear medical cause. You might feel a surge of anxiety for no apparent reason. You might find yourself getting intensely irritated by small, insignificant things. You feel a bone-deep weariness even after a full night's sleep, or a wave of sadness washes over you, even when, on paper, everything in your life seems to be going well. These symptoms are just the first warning shots. They are the muffled cries of your soul, which is being systematically ignored. Jung pointed out that when our conscious self strays too far from our total being, the unconscious part of us starts to compensate. Imagine an internal balancing scale. As you pile more weight on the side of pleasing others and maintaining the mask, your unconscious mind will desperately add weight to the other side to try and restore balance. The more you insist on keeping up appearances, the more forcefully your deeper self will react. If you push the perfect persona too hard, your unconscious mind will respond with everything you've tried to hide, your shadow. And your shadow, when it's pushed down and repressed, doesn't simply vanish. It seeps out sideways. It influences your automatic behaviors. It poisons your relationships. It drives you towards self-sabotaging choices. And it fuels the constant feeling of being a stranger in your own life. This internal conflict creates a state of chronic underlying tension. You try your best to keep everything under control, but you feel like something is always about to slip through your fingers. You do the right thing, but you feel empty afterward. You act exactly as people expect you to, but deep down, you feel a simmering anger, a sense of being used, and a profound fatigue. And this bottled up anger isn't just directed at the people around you. A large part of it is directed back at yourself. Each time you betray your own needs to be accepted, you are disappointing the one person you should never disappoint, you. The pain from this self-betrayal doesn't hit you all at once. It's a slow burn. It quietly eats away at your energy and vitality from the inside. It is a corrosion of the soul. The main problem is that this conflict is completely invisible to the outside world. People look at you and see someone who has it all together. You smile, you do your work, you manage your responsibilities. But inside, you no longer even know what you're truly feeling. All you know for sure is that something is deeply wrong. And you reach a point where you can no longer pretend that everything is okay. You can try to keep ignoring these signals. You can tell yourself it's just a phase or that you're just stressed. You can double down on your efforts to adapt and please everyone. But the price for this is incredibly high. An existence that lacks authenticity, a life without a sense of purpose, a journey without a soul. Not everyone experiences the world in the same way. Jung's work showed that we each have a unique psychological makeup that shapes how we see the world and make our choices. Among the various psychological profiles he identified, there is one type that is particularly vulnerable to the trap of pleasing others. This person is naturally oriented towards the outer world, especially towards the feelings and expectations of other people. For this type of person, being in harmony with their social environment isn't just a preference, it's almost a requirement for their emotional survival. Their entire internal system is designed to detect what other people are feeling, thinking, and expecting from them. They can walk into a room and instantly sense the emotional climate, and they will instinctively adjust their own behavior to create harmony, avoid any friction, and secure their own acceptance. Their primary focus is not on their own internal state, but on the external world of others. Their sense of identity, their self-esteem, and their feeling of emotional security are all fundamentally tied to the reflection they see in the eyes of the people around them. On the surface, this can look like a wonderful quality. It can be seen as deep empathy, kindness, or social grace. But when this tendency is taken to an extreme, as it often is, this way of operating becomes a breeding ground for self-betrayal. This person essentially lives for the approval of others. Their own internal moral compass can easily become lost because they are constantly trying to align themselves with external values and expectations, even when those values clash with their own inner truth. They might find themselves defending ideas they don't actually believe in, staying in relationships that are suffocating them, or accepting situations that make them miserable, all in the name of maintaining an image of being agreeable and accepted. This type of person has never learned to consistently ask the question, what do I truly want? Instead, their guiding question is always, what do they expect from me? This complete reversal of priorities inevitably leads to an internal collapse because no matter how hard they try, it is impossible to please everyone all the time. Every failure, every sign of rejection, and every piece of criticism is not just a minor setback, it's felt as a direct and devastating attack on their very sense of self. The most dangerous part of this is that very often, this person doesn't even realize they are betraying themselves. They operate on an automatic pilot, addicted to the feeling of being needed, loved, and accepted. They have come to confuse being loved with being useful. When they are not actively playing the role of the pleasant, helpful, and understanding friend, partner, or colleague, they feel as if they have no intrinsic value. It's as if their very existence is only justified when they are serving the needs of someone else. But it's important to be cautious here. This dynamic is not exclusive to one specific type of person. It appears in varying degrees in almost all of us. Every time you say yes when you desperately want to say no, just to avoid displeasing someone. Every time you hold back your true opinion because you are afraid of being rejected. Every time you downplay your own pain or exhaustion to avoid bothering others. In those moments, you are operating from the very same psychological logic. You are acting on the belief that being accepted is more valuable than being authentic. However, this is a game that comes at a tremendous cost, and your deeper self will eventually start sending out signals to warn you. It is about these invisible but absolutely crucial signs that we must now talk about. We need to understand how your unconscious mind tries to rescue your truth when you stubbornly insist on ignoring it. Get ready to dive even deeper. This journey isn't about achieving perfection, but about embracing your true self. It's about finding your way back home to who you are, stepping out of any limitations, and finally recognizing the warmth and light of your own inherent worth. You deserve this. You always have. Thanks for watching. If this resonated, please like this video and subscribe to stay updated. I look forward to continuing this journey with you. Until next time, take care and be present.